Good afternoon, buongiorno, and welcome to today's home brewing guide. Now, wait, I know what most of you are thinking, and you're probably thinking, oh God, not another how to make a V60 guide. And you're right, I can understand that. So, today we're going to be doing something a little different. It's not going to be the AeroPress, or the Ibrik, the Mocha, the Flip Drip, the Chemex, the Gina, not even a Jabina. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and it's called the Vietnamese Phin Filter. Coffee was brought to Vietnam in 1856. It was introduced by the French. If we fast forward many years later, Vietnam today is the world's biggest producer of Robusta coffees. And the traditional way of making coffee in Vietnam is using our Phin Filter. Now the word Phin Filter is interesting because Phin is Vietnamese for filter. So that means that it's actually a filter coffee. I've got two different Phin filters here. So the first one is ceramic, which is a little, probably more ornamental. And to be quite honest, I think I prefer the traditional stainless steel Phin filter, which you'll find everywhere. You'll find on Amazon for less than $10, 10 euros. It's made up of 4 separate parts. So our first part is just the bottom filter, which you'll find will go on top of your glass. Then we have our main vessel, where of course we'll put the coffee inside, with the holes also in the bottom where the coffee will filter through. On top of your ground coffee, we have a third little contraption which will hold the ground coffee down, and of course just a simple lid on the end. Now the coffee I'm going to be using today, I've actually got an authentic coffee from Vietnam, which surprisingly enough, this is actually an Arabica, Cafe Arabica, because originally it was a Bourbon which was introduced into Vietnam. As I say today, most of the coffees you will find in Vietnam are Robusta. I know this is an authentic Vietnamese coffee because it's written completely in Vietnamese and I can't understand anything. However, I won't be using it because I can see that it was roasted over 2 years ago. So what I'm going to be using today is something probably a little more similar to what I would find in Vietnam. This is a blend, but it is about 80% Vietnamese Robusta. Now, there is one special ingredient which I am going to need to use, and that is going to be sweetened condensed milk. Now, the reason they would use sweetened condensed milk in their coffees, well, there's 2 reasons really. One, because today, but more so many years ago, it would be very hard to find fresh milk in Vietnam. Now also because your Robusta coffees are very intense, very strong and very bold, and therefore with a little bit of sweetness it will bring out a lot more softer, delicate chocolate caramel flavours. So it's a natural choice to be able to use something sweet inside these coffees. For those of you who don't know, Arabica coffees tend to be a little more complex, more delicate, a little more acidic, and your Robusta coffees are of course those stronger, intense and bold coffees. So let's go ahead and make our Phin Filter. So the first thing we're going to need, of course, is to take a glass, and I'm going to use the scales, so I know exactly how much I'm putting in. Well, to be honest, I've never seen anyone in a coffee shop in Vietnam be precise using measurement with scales. Mind you, I've never been to Vietnam. Anyway. First thing we'll do is we're going to take our sweetened condensed milk, and we put in, let's just do that. The amount you want to put in, I suppose, really depends on how sweet you really like it. But give you an idea, that's about 30 grams of sweetened condensed milk right now. Put that there. We'll take our Phin Filter, and I say that goes on the top. A little contraption, voila. This comes out, as this will go on top of the coffee to hold it down. Now, I'm going to be putting in for today about 12.5 grams of my ground coffee. So the grind is going to be fairly coarse, somewhere between a filter and a French press. And I'm going to be adding 12.5 grams. It's quite simple down to my bottom there. Now what I have done before I used it, one of the problems with the Phin Filter, it tends to lose a lot of heat. So I've actually heated up the Phin Filter before I started just with some boiling hot water. And there we go. We give it a little tap. This goes on the top, and a little bit of pressure there. Now we're going to do a little bit of a pre-infusion, so more or less I'll be adding about 30 ml of water and leaving that for around 30 seconds. I'm just going to actually lift that because it tends to cause a little bit of suction on this one here. There we go. So you'll see straight away our coffee is basically just passing through with percolation, so just pure gravity. There's no pressure involved in this type of extraction. More or less it's going to take 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. That's going to depend a little bit on your grind size and the amount of coffee you're actually using, of course. So once that's done there, we're going to top it up with 120 ml of water. So I'm using 12.5 grams of coffee, 120 of water. It's not a precise recipe, but more or less that's probably around the ratio that we will be using. You get this great effect. And now we wait. One trick I have seen being done, because it does tend to lose a lot of heat, you might want to rest this inside a bowl of hot water, so that hot water is actually going to hold the heat inside your finished coffee as well. But for now, we wait. Okay, so we're finished ripping here, so we'll lift that off and just take it away. And then we have this beautiful sort of contrast, almost like the opposite to a Guinness if you like, with a sweet and dense milk on the bottom and our dark coffee on the top. Now, okay, I've got to be honest, it's not my favourite type of coffee. We've got a pretty much 100% Robusta here, but I'm just going to try it on its own. Oh, I've got another idea. Coffee's ready! Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to try first the coffee on the top, okay?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's strong for me.
Okay, but how would we do this? So what would really happen is, of course, we would mix it with ice cream and milk on the bottom.
I like it.
Nah, I thought you would. There's actually a little second option we can also do here. So what you'll often find is they'll turn this into, well, probably one of the world's first iced coffees really as well. So we're going to simply pour it on ice. Let me give that a little. Oh God, it's sweet. And see what our young assistant thinks.
I like it.
Okay. So that's a Phin Filter. There is actually a second option again where we use an egg mixture as well. So maybe in the next video I'll do the egg mixture. You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye bye and have a good day. Come on.